And here we are.
And here we
Ta-da!
are. Oh my goodness. How did this
Oh,
happen?
How
we
did
are
we
the
get here?
Transpositions.
Hello.
Hello.
I love the start,
Coming
but
to you
that's getting
live
crazy.
from Texas here. I guess I was from Texas last week too. This was not as big a deal this week, but it's still a big deal to me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
Hey, we've got
uh,
northern and southern ends of the continent.
right.
and Eastern. Coming live, Portland, Maine, right here.
Portland, Maine, and we'll get Carly in here in Connecticut, and we're going to be
Uh,
representing. You have East Coast representing up in here.
I
East
know.
Coast
And
representing. And if Jenny comes on, well, we'll get the great
Upper Midwest.
Midwest.
Yeah, which is I bailed on, so Jenny's still holding down the fort. Purple too.
Yeah.
That's okay. They can have it. I'm done with the Midwest.
Well,
that's fair.
it's not quite. Minnesota's not really that. It's sort of, but not quite.
Southern Canada.
Yeah.
I reckon it's only a matter of time before New England and or New York, if you include that, and Minnesota end up, annexing themselves into provinces.
Well, I don't know. One can always. Well, there was a huge movement back in the '70s for the Maritimes and the state of Maine to secede and form the nation of Acadia.
Interesting, because there was
Yeah,
a
it was a
movement on
thing.
the
It
other
really was.
coast.
Yeah, it wasn't an actual thing.
Yeah, they were
Never
talking
happened.
about Washington, Oregon, and British Columbia forming. Well, some people said Arcadia, and some people said Cascadia.
Cascadia would be better.
Yeah, I
Would be
agree.
better.
It's a nicer
Yeah.
sound too, but I do
Well,
digress.
and there are the Cascades. I mean, after all, but Acadia, you can't have Acadia except for Louisiana. Louisiana can have Acadia because that's where the
Yes.
Brits sent all the Frenchies
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Acadia.
over
I
what
like
went
Acadia.
down on the plains of Abraham.
I like Allegheny too.
Well, let's just divide up the U.S. It'll be healthier for everyone.
Gypsy tailwind.
Yeah, let's just. I'm tempted to say let's let the Confederacy go, but they will immediately bring back slavery, and then fuck.
Well,
I'm sorry to say, but unlike those days, what we have now is a nation that is deeply divided all across the nation. So
Yeah, it's
Well,
been
that's
true
hard.
since 2000-ish. Well, we became aware of it in 2000-ish when we started getting the breakdown data that there is no such thing as a red state or a blue state. There's blue concentrations surrounded by red rural areas. Sometimes the blue outnumbers the red, but there is no clean divide like there was in the Civil War.
yeah, it's islands, blue islands.
Yeah. So if shit
Galaxy of
goes
red.
south, as they say, it's going to be more like Yugoslavia.
Well, yeah, I mean, and if even in the Civil War times, if you talk to our friends in Kentucky or Maryland or that there were deep divides within that territory as well. So anyway, welcome to the Transpositions.
We open with
Weekly
digressions. I love it.
newscast. We open with a tiptoeing through history, and unfortunately, it's grim history. Even though we try to smile about it, but
They're
geez,
grim
We're
days.
repeating it, so. As I understand it, Trump Trump was donated some land here in Texas to build his concentration camps on.
Oh, how
good.
very nice. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, just in time for Thanksgiving.
I mean, we do love to put the worst fucking things right on holidays, don't we?
Yeah. So y'all want to hop into stories? We done rambling for a minute.
Do we have to?
I I got some.
Yeah, let's hop into stories because after all, what the fuck, we've got business to do here. We've got people who expect us to cover the news, and so let's do that.
Let's see. So here's what we got to start things off. Of course, under this blur, you can't
they're
see.
blurring the flag. So
but there is
those are swastikas. We Nitty did a stream. We've seen the still photos. They are full on swastikas.
Oh,
yes, mass group. The governor of Ohio and city officials in Columbus are speaking out after a group of armed, masked individuals marched through the streets of the Ohio capital city Saturday, dressed in black and holding flags with swastikas on them. The unidentified people were spotted around 1 p.m. walking through the Short North neighborhood, according to Columbus ABC affiliates WSYX. Images and videos of the marchers went viral on social media. The individuals in the group were detained, but no arrests were ultimately made. According to the Columbus Police Department, police said officers had initially been advised of the possibility of physical altercation, but released the detainees, the detained individuals. I guess detainees would have worked there too. Released the detainees after determining an assault did not take place. Police said that individuals were armed with firearms. Of course they were.
Of course they were.
Second Amendment right that they're fighting for right there, to be able to march.
Damn right.
Swastikas. You know what country? I want a country that the Nazis feel uncomfortable in and being out in the streets in public. There can be Nazis in my country, but I want to be very uncomfortable with.
This is not that country.
Yeah, not anymore. Well, if it ever was.
It used to be. I mean, well, no. I mean, I would say there was a good stretch, say post World War II, where said Nazis actually killed quite a few Americans in wartime, when Nazis were really not the thing, at least not. Not they were kind of. Like, even the John Birch Society didn't like them Nazis, even though the John Birch Society were effectively the Nazis. But hey,
yeah, they've merged now.
Yeah, it just seemed like the low tier fruit. But my conspiracy brain suggests that the only reason they're doing it now is so that later, when they're in every fucking city, the jerks on the right can be like, oh, well, there were Nazis marching while Biden was still president too, so you can't blame Trump for this.
There have been Nazis marching all the way through. I mean, look at the very fine people on both sides.
Well, you got
Virginia.
Mike DeWine here saying, we will not tolerate hate in Ohio. Neo-Nazi is their face.
Which is hilarious coming from him.
Yeah, sure, Mike.
Right.
Okay,
so,
Mike.
What exactly are you going to do? You're going to detain them and ask them a couple questions and let them go. That's how you'll stick it to them.
A sternly worded post on X.
Yes, look at this. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine issued the following statement regarding the neo-Nazi marches. We will not tolerate hate in Ohio. No, it probably doesn't sound like that, but
Mike DeWine is probably the best malapropism I've heard in a while. Or is that a spoonerism? I think that's a spoonerism. Mike DeWine. Yeah. He's a very Gorny high,
They were reported that they were espousing white power sentiments. You don't say, Mike. It don't say.
They usually do.
And I don't doubt the Columbus community stands against hate. I mean, I imagine it does. Most urban settings do have a strong stand against bigotry and hate because cities are a melting pot. But when it comes to our elected officials, they don't represent us. They don't represent us. So, all right, next on the agenda, and this is kind of a lead into the third story, and I wish I had a better view of this. Well, hold on, let me try something.
Well, whatever.
Tom's
The
Diner.
legend that told some turned to dust or to gold. Oh, we're not doing that. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
get it, Amber.
whatever.
You're on it.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we're
All
doing
right,
covers up in here.
I'm
It's
just gonna.
karaoke night at the
I'm gonna bring
TransPositions.
up this ugly white one. It's what we got to work with here. Pro LGBT Republican launches vicious attack on the first
What?
trans congresswoman.
Pro
All
In
right.
what
LGBT.
universe?
Oh my
Well,
goodness. Who is
this is
this?
what Titan shared to us. So this is coming to us from Titan. This is from Popular Information.
Everyone in the audience, by the way. I don't see Titan in the chat, but everyone, please. Titan Uranus.
Yeah.
I
So
want to clip
Donald-
that, but after my computer crashed, I lost my whole collection of shit, so I'd have to start the Titan Uranus montage all over again, and that would be a great
Well, now
start.
you've got one clipped.
Donald Trump's successful 2024 presidential campaign, along with its Republican allies, spent more than $215 million on television ads that stoked resentment against trans people.
No.
One ad from the Trump campaign, aired in heavy rotation, sought to convince voters that their tax dollars, with Vice President Kamala Harris support were being diverted to trans criminals. Kamala supports taxpayers funded sex changes for prisoners and illegal aliens, the narrator claimed. Kamala is
I
for
remember that
they,
ad.
them.
That's pretty bad.
President Trump is for you. Yeah, so the Democrats didn't do shit for us. I just want to say that right now. They didn't camp, at least not on the presidential scene. They did not campaign on the platform of trans people or standing up for trans rights or doing anything for trans people at all, or even mention trans people in any of the communications that she had in the public. Donald Trump did.
A lot.
Tons. You know what? It seems to me that when you're standing against hate, you should kind of stand against hate and not just sit down and get rolled over by the people that are dishing the hate out. I might be wrong, but I think a more bold approach is called for, because
I
the
agree.
namby-pamby approach isn't working at all.
Well, shifting rightward isn't working, because the whole
No,
point
but
with progressivism is to expand equality and protect existing rights from the fucking reactionaries. And these motherfuckers have been shifting so far right. Everyone, when Mossy was over, when it was still going by Alexander was here, Kamala is a center right candidate, and she did okay, but she could have done so much better. We need something at least to the left of center, something.
I'm convinced I'm convinced she lost because of her sex, because of her gender.
There's so many factors involved. That's certainly
I know
part of
there
it.
are, Ember. I know there are, Ember, but she had similar enough numbers to Biden's win.
Well,
that's the only thing. The only
young
thing
men, it flipped from Biden to Trump because
exactly because she's got a hoo-ha, and that's basically it.
You can't put one charge.
The country is not ready for a female chief executive. Period.
We lost the Fuentes vote, though. I'm not impressed by that.
Yeah, well,
I'm not impressed that we lost this late teens, early 20s young man voter watching Joe Rogan and listening to Andrew Tate.
Right.
And all this. I'm not shocked at all that we lost them. That sounds right. And
literally,
maybe that's been part of the problem. But
they all have fucking parades in Columbus to go to. They were getting their flags screen printed.
Y'all have to forgive me, because I've literally been paying attention to trying to stay alive. And
Mm.
so my engagement, everything I say is entirely uninformed by what has happened since election day. It is just everything I have to say is reflection upon observing the way the campaign went up until election day, and my unease that I was very, very loath to share. But I have some thoughts, and one of the things Jay Bundy did a wonderful stream that I completely agree with a couple of days ago.
He does
What
that
are we
often.
watching? What are we watching now? We're watching fucking uh, rationality rules. Say, I'm going to start having more conversations with Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
And we're seeing all sorts of big number YouTubers, big subscribers, big channels, basically saying the same thing. Oh, I'm really surprised. I guess I should start talking to Nazis now. And maybe that's the wrong takeaway, guys. Maybe you didn't fight hard enough for the people that were telling you what was
That's the
coming.
opposite.
And when you see what is coming, I'll just remind you that in January 1933, a certain gentleman in a Central European country was elected president, who was appointed chancellor of said Central European country. By May, they were burning books. Literally, they were burning the books of the Institute for Sexual Research in Institute for Sexual Study in Berlin. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
History
No question in my mind.
echoes.
I mean, it already is kind of happening. We've been banning books for a couple of years now, and it's been getting
but
more
literally, those Nazis that were marching in Columbus, Ohio, they'll be marching somewhere, and they'll be into a library, and they'll be grabbing the books, and they'll be putting them out in the street.
Throwing them on a pyre.
I swear to God, it's going to happen.
Well, all this was preamble
Yay.
to Congresswoman Nancy Mace, a name that we're going to get familiar with here over the following or the preceding months, because she's going to keep sticking her nose into things. She used to reject this kind of politics, according to this article. I strongly support LGBTQ rights and equality, Mace said in March of 2021. Interview with the Washington Examiner. No one should be discriminated against, Mace added, as she believed religious liberty, First Amendment, gay and transgender equality can all coexist. Mace added that she had friends and family that identify as LGBTQ, and having been around gay, lesbian, and transgender people has informed my opinion over my lifetime. We're gonna have a dark arc here in just a moment, so just bear with me. Mace supported compromise legislation that protected LGBTQ from discrimination while providing notable exceptions for religious institutions. I feel like it's my duty to speak up on these issues and to sponsor legislation on these issues, because I want people on both sides of the aisle to know that there are Republicans who care. Mace said that we are compassionate. There are many of us that want equality for everybody. She opposed the more expansive Equality Act. Now, in June 2021, Mace retweeted, "We should all come together to celebrate the challenges of the LGBTQ plus and overcome, and the bright future has overcome."
Oh, look. I like the South. I like the South Carolina, the Palmetto Estate in pride colors. Yeah, that's really neat. Let's do that and pretend that we're actually doing something.
Yeah, she said, this is in 2020, or 2021. Yeah, the pandemic kept us from fully celebrating Pride here in Low County in 2020, but hopefully we can finally begin to open back up. So she's ready to go for Pride. And then in 2023, while Mace opposed the participation of trans women in collegiate athletics, she described herself as a woman who is pro-LGBTQ. Mace said she did not care how you dress or what pronouns you take. In September 2023, Mace was one of 18 Republicans to join the Democrats to defeat the amendment that would defund Pride Month celebrations sponsored by the State Department. In the days after Trump's victory, however, Mace's views and her rhetoric on trans people have changed significantly. Here we go, gals. You ready?
All set.
On Monday, Mace introduced a resolution banning trans women from using female bathrooms in the U.S. Capitol. The resolution is targeted at a single person, Congresswoman-elect Sarah McBride, a Democrat from Delaware, who will become the first trans member of Congress next year. In the statement to the media, Mace attacked McBride in personal terms, depicting her as a threat.
I think we should go back.
Hold on. This is a biological man trying to force himself into women's spaces. I am not going to tolerate it, Mace said. Asked if she plans to discuss her resolution with McBride, Mace responded, "No, Sarah McBride does not get a say." On Twitter.
Time out. I think that Ms. Mace should go. We should go back to the good old days when there weren't any restrooms for women in Congress.
Because there weren't any women in Congress, right?
Exactamundo.
On X, Twitter, I'm not.
Shitter.
I don't even know. Mace engaged in harsher anti-trans rhetoric targeting McBride, describing her as an incoming congresswoman who likes to wear miniskirts and wants to invade the privacy of women. Nancy Mace is pushing a measure to block transgender women from using women's restrooms because there's incoming congresswoman who likes to wear miniskirts and wants to invade women's spaces. In other posts on Twitter, Mace said that if anyone criticized her resolution, she would call you out for putting women and girls in harm's way. Mace also posted that playing make-believe and dress-up does not mean you should be allowed in women's private spaces, and called her critics perverts.
Which is ironic as fuck, since she introduced that resolution while standing 6 feet from an actual sexual predator in the same room as a person currently facing ethics charges for underage stuff. We'll just leave it at that. But yeah, let's talk about this woman who has been openly trans and in elected offices for 10 fucking years and has never done a thing to anybody. No. This one individual, she could be a threat when the people who are actual sex criminals, actual perverts are on her side. Fuck me sideways.
She also reposted a mean-spirited attack from notorious Libs of TikTok account that mocked and misgendered McBride, of course. On International Men's Day, Kaya Rychek decided she was going to take a shot at McBride, and Nancy Mace just lapped it up like a little lapdog that she is. A little lapdog you are, Nancy. You don't have any loyalty at all, Nancy. You just whichever way the wind blows, right, Nancy?
Do you recall? Do you all recall when Sarah was working? I believe for the Human Rights Commission, and Parker Posey. Or Posey Parker, not Parker Posey, but Posey Parker.
Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly and Kelly Jean, whatever the fuck her name is. That bitch led an entire delegation into her offices and got up in her grill and harassed the living piss out of her. Do you remember that? Yeah, Sarah's been a target for a long time. Yeah. That happened in what, 2019, I think it was. Yeah, it was grim, gross, disgusting. These people have been at it for a long time.
Yeah, Mace
And-
seems eager to make her resolution targeting McBride the central part of her political identity. And that's all I know about her. That's literally all I know about her. That's all most of us know about this woman, is that she's going after this trans congresswoman.
Well,
She-
she
she's
was a moderate, right? I mean, she was making all the moderate noises and all of this stuff. But now that people are letting
The
their
winds are changing.
letting their hate fly out in the open, she's jumping in front of that parade. And this is the problem with people moderating their support for for
For a minority
this-
group based on
for minority groups. If you don't stand with them when they're in trouble, you don't stand with them at all.
It's a Carly.
Hey,
Oh,
Carly.
an echo, Carly.
What
Got
was
an
that?
echo. Got an echo from you.
Well, we can fix that.
I know we can.
You're missing that McBride and Mace situation.
Yeah,
You have some
she
thoughts
got
on
Mace.
Carly.
I do like the general shape of her response. Like she could I don't want to
people.
criticize the way that she handles things, because you can't look at how she's handling it and be like, oh, she should have done this, she should have done that. That's blaming the victim, right? But the fact that she just snaps back with, look, they're trying to distract from the fact they have no fucking policies, which is true.
I agree with that. I agree with that assessment. However, here's where my problem is. Here's where my problem is with McBride, and I'm going to discuss that in length on Transposition Sports a little bit later on. Because here's my thing about. First off, I'm really torn about this because about and the general tenor has been it's kind of half and half. Half the people say, "Oh, I don't like that Katie did that. That Sarah McBride rather did this. That Sarah did this, and Sarah. I don't like the way Sarah went out and said, I'm going to comply with this, and it looks bad on all trans people. And this is going to affect interns. It's going to affect people. Well, talking to some legals about that, not necessarily, because interns and staffers have a different set of rules than people in Congress. This is more vendetta against McBride being trans here. Being trans here in a lot of sense. Federal law will still apply if I walk into Capitol Hill and use a woman's bathroom. They can't stop me, and I don't care what Nancy Mace does. Law's on my side. This is more a matter of the rules of decorum of the houses
For
of
now.
Congress. Well, no, for now, and I agree with you. Now. Wait a minute, Stephanie. I know you're going to be outspoken. I'm getting to that. Now, and on the other side, there are those who say, "Don't jump on Sarah. We need to stay together on this. We need to back her up." Now, I take a view that looks at the best of both sides, but still falls on. We need to give Sarah some loving, because the fact of the matter is, she screwed the pooch on that. That response screwed the pooch. Let's just get real about it. You don't give the bigots an inch. Now,
Goddamn right.
I agree. No, I agree with the fact that Sarah said, I'm here to represent the state of Delaware. I am the representative in the House. I'm the state's representative. I'm here to fix things for Delaware and make things right. I'm with that. I want her to do that. But this is where Sarah looked really, I'm going to say it, really naive and privileged. Sarah didn't understand that, number one, I have a feeling that Sarah didn't quite understand the history of how the Republicans are coming at her. The Republicans are directly trying to threaten your ability to do your job.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the bathroom thing is really about. If we get basic health and hygiene from you, you can't do your job. And that's what this is targeting here. And I think Sarah didn't know. Notice that. And I also think at another level, Sarah did not necessarily think about the ramifications outside the beltway on this. Because now this opens the door, and Aaron Reed's right about this. Aaron's not wrong about this at all. Aaron, if you read Aaron Reed and Aaron in the Morning today, she blistered Sarah McBride, and she's not wrong in doing it. Because I think at that moment, Sarah forgot that you being in the position you in and the words you use, everybody's going to parse it and people are going to make a statement on it. I think at that moment she was naive. Now, the other side of this is I also think Sarah, to her defense in some ways, I think Democratic leadership had a hand in how this was played. And you know how the Democratic leadership are. They don't want the waves. They don't even want to ripple. Now, I think one thing Sarah could have done and maybe done is before making any decisions, I think she could have taken 24 hours, didn't have to make a rapid response. If it was like, if I was in that shoes, I'd be calling Hope Giselle and Raquel Willis, and I'd be calling the heads of my major trans rights organizations and my Gay Inc. organizations. And in my case, since I know Stephanie, I'd be calling Stephanie and Ember and Bree. I'd be calling my friends, call my community, and say, okay, what are your thoughts on this? And come with something, and come with a statement and a battle plan that comes from the grassroots up. Because had Sarah said this, I'd be on board. If Sarah had said, I'm not here to have this ridiculous bathroom fight with you. I'm here to represent my state. I'm here to do business here in Congress. So you know what, Ms. Mace or Missy Mace, because after all, you got a little plantation with all this. Let's be real. You know what I'm going to do? I'm ignoring you. You're welcome to try and follow me. You know what? You're welcome to try and chase me in every bathroom in the Capitol for all I care. But I'm here.
That's right.
If I need to go,
call the sergeant of arms. I'm going into the head right now. I'm going to take a piss. Call the sergeant of arms.
Exactly. I'm going to tell you right now.
There's a jail. There's a jail in the basement of the Capitol.
Yeah.
Call the sergeant of arms. I'm going to jail. Do that, Sarah. Do that. Stand up for yourself.
But Stephanie,
who fight for their fucking right. No, you wait. Do what people who fight for their own rights do. Do that.
Exactly. But Stephanie, there's another part to that. My thing is, the last thing we need is Tisha Campbell in Hidden Figures having to run a half mile to the damn bathroom. And that's the thing I think that needs to be pointed out. But also the point. That's
why McBride should tell Mace to piss up a rope.
No, but Stephanie, there's also another side to this. No, there is a but what, because it's important. This is the other part. She shouldn't have to fight alone and shouldn't. Now, this is where we
goddamn
come
right.
in.
Absolutely.
But Stephanie, this is where we come in. Where all of us come in. For starters, we need to give the congressional Democrats the spine that they don't seem to have, which means everybody here and everybody listening tonight, if you live in a district that has a Democratic representative, you live in a state that has a Democratic senator, what I want you to do is do what I did today. I want you to be on their Twitter, be on their social media, send an email and say, in my case, for example, I live in Connecticut's 2nd district. That's Johanna Haynes' district. She's a brilliant, wonderful black lady who's my congressperson. I hit her Twitter this morning saying, what you gonna do? Where you at? I want you speaking out for Sarah McBride. I want you speaking out for trans people in this moment. I want you to speak against the Confederate Jim Crow Republicans. And that's another thing. From now on, call them. Stephanie, can someone finish a sentence?
Sure.
Can I finish the sentence?
You bet.
Thank you.
We're all
I
want
the
tonight.
Hey,
no, I want.
The sentence has been going on for a while, and I'd love to say something about.
I love you too, Stephanie. But no, no marching orders here. I want everyone stop. When you talk about a Republican, Call them a Confederate Jim Crow Republican. All of them. Use Confederate Jim Crow Republican, because that's what this is, Jim Crow. But Stephanie, you got the floor.
All right. What I was going to say is, better yet, call your congressman, call the office, stay on the phone, talk to their staff, talk to their personnel. You know what? That makes a difference, and you can get through to them. Don't leave a message. Talk to them.
No, but see, here's the thing.
Write a letter to them.
You're not.
That works.
But here's the thing. You're not getting that.
I'm naive. I'm
letter.
naive. I've literally talked to Susan Collins, chief of staff, Carly. Maybe Maine is just unique in that regard, but I can talk to the chief of staff of Angus King, Susan Collins, and my House representative, Shirley Pingree, and I can talk to Jared Golden's staff. Maybe we're unique, but God damn it, give it a try. Twitter's no goddamn good. Twitter doesn't do shit. Twitter is controlled by a guy who put this guy in office. Twitter is trash.
My congressperson answers her own Twitter.
Good.
Well, I think we should call
which means your congressperson is contributing to Elon Musk's bottom line. So are we all. Maybe we should stop that.
We're working on it.
I deleted Twitter off my phone. I still have my account because I have a lot of DMs in the Twitter, but I'm not deleting those all. A lot of my contacts for people are there, but I definitely don't interact on Twitter as much as I was before. I think we should call them segregationists. They are segregationists. This is a segregationist move.
That's why I say Confederate Jim Crow Republicans.
Exactly. Yeah, they want
every time they walk by Will Dixie.
In fact, something similar came up today at my day job, and there was a big issue. It's a long story that we don't have time for, but I ended up on the phone with my corporate HR representative, and she said, it's interesting how I remember when we went through desegregation, how there were a whole bunch of people who were very uncomfortable with people with a different shade of skin color using the same bathroom as them. And the rule from on high, from all the various institutions, academic, corporate, governmental, everything, was if you are uncomfortable, you can feel free to go use a single serving bathroom. Everyone else who can play nice together can share a bathroom. But if you have a problem, you go help yourself to a single stall location.
What's funny? What's funny is that at my place of employment, the signs on the bathrooms don't mean shit. There are very few women that work in the place, but men use the ladies all the time. It's really fucking funny. It's very weird.
Some places it matters, some places it doesn't. Another thing that she told me today is one of the service centers, I think in Connecticut, but I'm not 100% sure. There was a driver who came in from Tennessee, very, very red hat, and she stopped into the bathroom while she was in the service center. That particular service center is just unisex. So a guy came in to use the bathroom because it's a unisex bathroom. And she flipped her shit and said some things that aren't super friendly or very Christian, and she's going to lose her job over it. But in a lot of places, they don't even have the signs anymore.
It's archaic, really. I mean, in the U.S. is, I guess, unique in the fact that our stalls don't reach the floor. From what I understand from my people who live in Europe or travel in Europe, you go over there, the stalls go all the way down to the floor. So it doesn't matter who's in the next stall because you don't freaking know about it. You can't peek under the stall like you can here as like a big freaking weirdo.
But not only that, that's the gender neutral bathrooms at Kansas City International Airport. Same thing. That basically the European concept is starting to come to the United States. For example, like I said, Kansas City International has that,
Yeah.
and travelers universally love it, and more airports are getting that. So this is about nothing more than the Confederate Jim Crow Republicans throwing their weight around. That's what this is. Project 2025.
Carly, your mic is clipping really badly.
This
Lot.
This is the Confederate Jim Crow doing what they do. That's all it is.
You might want to check the connections on your mic because it's clipping really badly. It's popping and stuff.
At the moment, this is
No,
what
it's
I got
it's
to work with.
well, it's the connection. It's not you're not clipping. The audio's not clipping, but the connection is clipping. Is all I'm saying.
All right. Well, this is generally the part of the show where we lose Ember.
I have to
So-
sail away.
Ember's segment today is going to be a little bit shorter, but that's all right.
It's very short, but important. So do stick around for it. We're gonna learn some history today, folks.
Yay. All right. Well, did anybody else have anything that I did not pick up from this week that was worth talking about? I mean, it's mostly been this shit going on in the Capitol is what's been eating me alive.
Yeah, Nazis, horror show, distraction, everything is on fire.
Yeah. And then all this freaking housing insecurity
unless
for
we
trans
can-
people.
Unless we can motivate, as Carly was saying, unless we can motivate, unless we can get these centrist Dems to stop to stop moving in the direction of let's talk to more Nazis because obviously they must have good ideas because they just got elected. Unless we
Right.
can stop that trend somehow or another, we're in deep shit. Deep shit.
I know. I keep hearing this. Oh, this is the trans thing is why you guys lost the election. Yeah, it's why they lost the election in 1933 in Germany too. It doesn't mean it was a good thing. It doesn't mean that they were wrong. Doesn't mean
I
they
mean,
were
it's
wrong
basically
for
you got to
minorities.
call out the nonsense here. These people need to develop some sort of a spine. As Carly just finished saying, stand up for yourself. You can't.
I agree with that.
Just walk
No, don't
away.
get the wrong idea.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
they-
we're agreeing with you, Carly. Definitely.
Yeah.
No, you can't just walk away with it. But at the same time, let's also understand. But right now, but also at the same time, it would be easy to dogpile on Sarah McBride. Not that she hasn't totally earned it, but the
I don't
biggest
even know
thing
what
is,
she
what do we
said.
do now?
Exactly.
No, what
I
she
agree
said
with that.
essentially was she's going to just comply with what Speaker has said, and that's just opening the door to a lot of
Well, she shouldn't have done
misgendering
that.
and a lot of crap. No, she shouldn't have
That's
done
right.
that.
No.
She shouldn't have done that. However, when it all comes down, and Stephanie, I'm with you. We need to be calling and writing and getting on the social media and blasting our elected representatives. Let them know that we need you in the game, but also we need us in the game, and that means we have to be prepared to get involved in some creative, nonviolent, non-cooperation right now.
Oh yes.
We have to
Oh,
start
yes.
planning
Right
it.
now. Right now. Absolutely. We need to start planning for what's coming because what's coming, we can mitigate it.
It's going to be
But what's coming is really horrific.
No, what's coming is here's what's coming. What's coming is we're going to have to march. We're going to have to get creative. We're going to have to shut stuff down. We may have to have an all trans girl cuddle puddle in front of Nancy Mace's office,
Wow.
complete with
dig it.
sleeping bag. Complete. We may have to have trans men in Capitol Hill at strategic locations in the ladies' bathroom having a mass bathroom break across Washington,
Preferably-
D.C. We may have to
Preferably those with a full beard. That would be very,
I'm talking NHL. If you're a trans man with an NHL playoff, we may be calling you.
that's
point is,
what
we
I'm
gotta-
talking about.
the
Yeah.
Point is, we got to get creative. We got to take it back. We got to Fannie Lou Hamer this thing, in a lot of ways. We got to go. We got to get back to the old school. And that means we have to not let nobody turn us around. And we have to stick it to the face. We have to stick it to Bull Connor Mace and Marjorie Taylor Pritchett, pro-Confederate Republicans. And that's what's going to happen.
I think Marjorie Taylor Maddox would be more appropriate.
Yeah, that's even better. Marjorie Taylor Maddox.
Georgia.
Well,
get out the axe handles, kids.
I mean, we have to get, but also I'm imploring our allies. Guys, you got.
You're breaking up again. Yeah. Yeah.
We need you. We need you. There's no other way. This is a fight too, because trans rights is, and to all the cis people, gay for if groomer you ignore them, because they're the people going to the no time for the meism today, because they're going after all of us. It just happens that trans are the easy. That's the first line. It's the first time on the line, people, and they want everything.
Carly, your mic is really breaking up.
Good.
Nobody can hear a word that you said, or every other word, perhaps.
Yeah, it hurt. It was really broken up, but I think I get the spirit of what you were saying. Oh, you're muted now.
I mean, it's pretty simple. There's a lot of work that needs to be done.
That's way better.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done. We have a lot of things that need to get moving.
Mm-hmm.
We have to get creative. We really have to get creative, and we really have to start looking at, again, creative, non-violent, non-cooperation. And the big key in that is non-cooperation. We cannot cooperate with this. We will not cooperate with this. No, we're not going to go along to get along. And that means we have to move beyond the powers that be in Washington that are ready to capitulate. We have to push them in the direction that we need to go, and if possible, push them out of the way and move forward to it. Because it's liberation now, and we have a duty to win. See, a lot of people say, I don't fight fascists because I think I can win. I fight fascists because they're No, I fight fascists because I have a duty to win. We have a duty to win. For ourselves, for our country, for our planet, we have a duty to win. That's the stakes. Our survival as a species depends on what we do.
Let's don't mistake. Let's don't have any illusions. The fight is going to be hard. It's going to be very hard, especially under the current climate, because we're facing a bunch of bigots that feel empowered. The first story we covered tonight was where the Nazis marching down the streets of Columbus, Ohio. They feel empowered.
Do you think they would have done that if Kamala had won?
They might have been doing that, but they wouldn't have felt quite so empowered. Right now, they're doing a victory dance. That's the difference. I mean, they'll be pouty, but the thing that I find about the right is they are very determined in ways that the left is not. They're dedicated to making these things happen. So
the people we have representing us right now don't represent the left. They represent hey, let's keep things nice and smooth. Let's not make waves. If they want to ban people from the bathroom, I mean, If we can compromise, we can say, okay, we won't let trans women use the bathroom. If
Maybe
that's what
left
they're
and
willing
right
to
is-
do. That's where we're fucking at right now. And I'm at a loss for all the
Yeah.
people. For all the people along the way who told me they aren't going to do that. Nothing's going to change. They just say that. There's just let's just talk. No, they're going to do it. Project 2025 is happening now. It's pieces have already fallen in place. This is a piece of that puzzle. Mike Johnson making this decision right now is that piece of the puzzle, because he's the one that makes the decision to say, yes, we want to satisfy Nancy Mace's bigotry and make sure she doesn't have to see a trans person in her vicinity. That they're willing to accommodate that for her. That's where we are right now. So we need to not pretend, not let people gaslight us into saying things will not get that bad. They're not going to take away your Yes, they are. They're going to take away our HRT. They're going to take away our HRT as soon as they can. They're going to take away trans youth's rights to participate in any kind of school functions. You just wait. It's not going to stop at sports. It will not stop at sports.
It was never about sports.
There will be.
It was never about sports to begin with. That's right.
You're going to see the same shit happening to your mathletes. I mean, it doesn't matter to your traveling bands. It's gonna go everywhere. It's gonna spread throughout every aspect of a youth's life to segregate them from being able to participate with their cohort, with their peers. I'm fucking sick of it. So we need to stand up. I don't know what to do. I'm ready to fight.
It's going to be hard, is all I'm saying. Let's not have any illusions about the struggle we're facing, because I think, as everybody here has said, it's not just a fight. It's not just a fight for ourselves against the Nazis. It's a fight against the people that don't seem to that say, oh well, I'm with you. I've said this for years. The people that walk up to you and say, it'll be okay. I have your back.
That was Nancy Mace.
I have said in response, I would prefer that you not have my back, because my back is against the wall. And what I'm hearing you say is, you're the wall and you're paying no attention to the firing squad. And if the most you can offer me is a last cigarette, then I don't need your fucking allyship. Do something about the people that are aiming their guns at me, and then we'll talk. Because the only thing that has my back right now is the wall. And you're part of the wall.
I'll tell you what, I trust what a Republican says they're going to do to me a lot more than what a Democrat says they're going to do for me.
Yes. Now you got it.
You're honest about that, at least.
All right, let's roll some Ember history. You guys want to? That sounds like pay attention, people. This is important. There's going to be a test at the end of the show. Ember,
here we go.
Always appreciate having you on. We will see you again live next week. We'll have Ember live again, as far as I know.
Hopefully. Work is crazy. As I've said elsewhere, the situation has come to the point where I'm working 7 days a week now. And I don't even know from 1 week to the next if I'm even going to be able to be here for our live broadcast, because I'm just working all the damn time. And it sucks, and I'm fucking exhausted. We do our best.
Yeah, and and with our guests too, I've had to reschedule some guests and stuff. People are are shook right now. We're all in this flux. I moved. I left my life that I'd had for the last almost 20 years in Illinois to fucking come down here. So I'm scared. I'm taking this very seriously. I'm scared. This is a serious thing. I abandoned my existence to get closer to the fucking border. I mean, think about that. This isn't playing around, and real stuff is happening, people. Real things are happening. I keep getting off on a tangent, Ember. I want to play your video.
Let's play Ember's video, and then I'll join in. And that's like, hey, I'm kind of fucked myself,
We're all in bed. We're struggling.
We're all sitting on tenterhooks. watching for stuff, and in various different ways, in our own little styles, we are on the edge of disaster. Personally, so
Not even kidding.
we love you all. If you want to help us out at all, we do have our Discord, and we do have our Patreon, and if you want to
share the videos,
and share the videos and stuff.
Passport tips and the crisis line tips are live individual videos now. They came out earlier in the week.
Super short too.
Share the fuck out of those things.
Just 3 minutes is all someone needs to be able to watch that. So if you know a trans person, just share it. Say, hey, this is popped up. All right, we're gonna go into to Ember's segment here. So we will be, I guess we'll be back in a little bit, about 6 minutes. Well, we will. Ember won't.
Yeah. See you in the chat, Ember.
Today, as I record this, the U.S. is observing the Transgender Day of Remembrance. On this day, we mourn the flames snuffed out this past year of trans people lost to violence. This day is a reminder that trans people are uniquely vulnerable, with active hate campaigns against us, millions in spending pushing people to violence, and not only a total lack of federal protections, but laws on the books in many states carving out exceptions from normal criminal charges for people who kill us, as long as they do it primarily because we're trans. But we aren't defined by our suffering. Being trans is a radical act of embracing joy in defiance of anyone who tries to tell others who they must be and how they must live. Trans Day of Remembrance is a day of sorrow, yes, but also a reminder to celebrate the people who are still here while they're still here, and to fight for life. Nothing makes this point clearer than the story of the person who inspired the first Trans Day of Remembrance 25 years ago, Rita Hester. Rita was born November 30th, 1963, and was killed 2 days shy of her 35th birthday in 1998. She was murdered in her apartment near Boston, and her killer has never been identified. The way her death was mishandled by the media, how the murders of gay men were making national news while the murders of trans people were being largely ignored, how even the GSM community at the time had forgotten the name of another trans woman, Chanel Pickett, killed just 3 years prior, despite her killer recently escaping justice on a trans panic defense. All of that made advocate Gwendolyn Ann Smith realize we were losing our own history. On the first anniversary of Rita's death, she and Penny Ash Matz organized the first Day of Remembrance, November 28th, 1999. Gwendolyn also began a project called Remembering Our Dead, now accessible only through the Wayback Machine, which attempted to catalog the names of all the murdered trans people as far back as 1970. The names you see scrolling past now are the confirmed dead from that Lost Register's last index in 2012. Today, that list would be over 5,000 names long, and that only a fraction of the worldwide total from the relatively small number of countries that report data on killings of trans people, with roughly 350 added every year. But just as important as what happened following her death was the life that came before. Rita, depicted in this Boston mural, was a remarkable woman. According to her little sister, Rita didn't have a coming out. She always was indomitably a girl. Her personality and mannerisms made it obvious to anyone, and at a very young age, she was naturally accepted as herself. As she grew up, however, her hometown became less friendly toward a black trans woman. In her teen years, she discovered the rock scene in Boston, where it didn't matter that she was trans, and she made the journey often. By her mid-20s, she'd moved there. Jessica Piper, a friend of Rita's, observed that Rita was unique describing her as the only link between the queer underground and the straight world. Even though she was warned by older Black trans community members about the dangers of mingling with the cishet folks, Rita went from a fixture at rock shows to a performer and often a dancer for other performers. That wasn't just around town either, but international trips as well. She wasn't just a rocker, of course. Her best friend, a white cis woman named Brenda Wynn, said the two would cook together and talk often. Rita spent Thanksgiving with Brenda's family in 1998, 2 days before her death. Rita was well known and well loved, not just in the trans community of Boston. Following her death, a vigil was held that was attended by hundreds and brought national attention to the epidemic of violence against trans people. Charito Suarez, another GSM community leader in the Boston area, knew Rita for 8 years and described her as a magnetic personality. For an interview on the 10th anniversary, she said, quote, "She was a shining star. Whenever she arrived at a club, her presence would be noticed by anyone. She was so elegant and so beautiful, and part of her beauty was that she never tried to make anyone else look less." Rita was a force of nature, a brute fact, a woman who made her presence known but added to the joy in any room rather than dominate it. Her loss diminished everyone's lives. Another area trans person who knew Rita, Gunnar Scott, helped organize protests of the local media who treated Rita's murder and memory so poorly, including the local GSM paper. On December 3rd, they marched on the offices of the Herald and Bay Windows with signs reading, "Your silence will not protect you." People were heartbroken, but also outraged. And those things, in that season of escalating violence against all gender and sexual minority people, gave rise to a movement. So remember Rita Hester, but not just that she died for being trans. Remember that she lived and that she was very much loved.
That was moving. I'm
Yeah,
Well-
it was.
I am
You
a
know,
little.
verklempt? Yes. You know, I'm from Boston originally, and I'm also an old and Gwen Smith is an old acquaintance and a fellow sister of Eugene Trang's uh, alterations shop, shall we say. And I've known Gwen for, God, 23 years at least. More than that. It's like, yeah, 24 years. I'm hopeful that we can get her to come on the program and talk. And if I hadn't been so wrapped up in my own travails of late, I would have thought to have asked her if she would join us. But I will reach out and see if she will in the future. There's another woman in Portland who does trivia nights at a local pub, and she knew Rita Hester, and so yeah, it hurts. It still hurts to this day. It does hurt, and every year it hurts, and the kind of activism that Gwen did and that we've done for ages and ages, you know, golly, we're tired, but we can't stop. We can't stop. We have to keep going because in us keeping going,
We've run out of
we
resources to keep going, Steph. What are we supposed to do when we run out of
I
resources to
don't
keep
know.
going?
I don't know.
We
I
could
don't
use
know.
some help, guys.
It's
Steph could use some help right now.
it's an absolute struggle. You know, you go on and on and on and everything. I've had the past 27 years of my life have been wonderful. And now that's, well,
You guys are
that's
the
been
best part of my
wonderful.
life so far the last couple of years. I'll tell you that. And everything else has gone to shit. And I'm glad I found you guys. Oh, otherwise, I don't know. I don't even know where I would be right now if I didn't have this community.
We're here for you, Bree. We're gonna be here for you, and I'm determined to do everything I can. And if it all comes crashing down, it all comes crashing down. But that's the way it goes. I can't change society, but I can certainly do what I can, where I can, when I can, to make a difference. And that's the best anybody can hope for. But I think it's really important that we convey a sense of urgency in this moment as to what the stakes are.
Well,
And again,
they gaslight me about the stakes every time. Every time I try to talk to anybody about the
Right.
stakes, I try to talk to my family about this stuff, right? And they gaslight me about it. I just didn't.
it's not as bad as all that. Oh yeah.
I thought she was just a
worse.
dingbat. That's why I didn't vote for her.
It's worse. I know I'm hearing the both of you, and it's. I'll admit it. This last couple since the. I'll admit I'm off. In a lot of ways, I've been thrown for a loop by this whole election in post. It's because.
Oh yeah.
It's hard.
I'm human.
It's hard to be. Right now it's like you want to cry and can't. You want to scream and can't. But this is where community matters. This weekend, I took part in a rally that was done here in West Hartford, Connecticut, which drew about 1,500 people.
I saw the pics. Yeah, Facebook.
And the sports segment coming up in a few minutes will have some of the highlights from that rally in it. I spoke at it. And also, a few days before the election, if you watched TransPositions Sports a few weeks ago, we talked about Tia Lynn Waters, also known to us lovingly as Bubblicious or Mama Bubblicious, Auntie Bubbles, are a woman who's been a drag performer in Connecticut for nearly 40 years. In many ways, she was a founder of the ballroom scene in Connecticut as we know it. And it's an underrated but hotly competitive. You have had at least one Connecticut queen make each of the last 6 seasons of Drag Race. So, we got some big league queens and kings in Connecticut. It's fierce up here. And Tia Lynn Waters had a great deal to do with building that scene. She was truly the mother of Connecticut. And she passed away on October 28th. We had a special memorial service Sunday for her that ended up being, in many ways, it was a combination funeral, party, kiki / drag show. But also it was a chance for all of us to come together and just hug each other and have a good cry and have a laugh and have memories of Bubbles, but also for us to come together and really have that chance to fellowship, because we haven't had that. And I think a lot of us need that right now. And I know, Bree, you've probably needed it. Stephanie, I know you damn well have needed it for what you've gone through. and
Yeah.
It's
all
been
of
a
us
long
have.
day. It's been a long day.
Yes,
It's been a long. It's
I'm in
been
the
a
queerest
long.
house in El Paso right now, which is about
See,
it's probably the
see,
safest
Bree,
place I
I
can
want to
be.
know what is
I'm-
that like? Not just being in Texas, but being in West Texas. I mean,
Well,
El
so
Paso.
this area is actually really blue. They tried to have a Trump parade here when he won, and I guess there was enough protest and broken windows that they called it off. So people don't
Well,
love that around here, but they did. I think that they did vote for him here because there's a lot of patriarchy in Catholic communities. When there's a lot of Catholic communities around here. But as far as the queer scene, it seems like a lot better than where I come from. But I came from the middle of a cornfield in the Midwest, so anything's
Where
better
in?
than that. You come to any city is probably going to be better than that. But West Texas, I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm better off in West Texas than East Texas, though. The main thing is I'm like 20 minutes from, or not even 20 minutes from the border.
Yeah,
uh,
dang near close to Ciudad Juarez.
Yes, I am. You can actually see into Juarez from just up the mountainside here because there's a mountain range that runs right down through the center of El Paso. It's beautiful. I love to hike and get out, so I'm going to be trying to take advantage of all that stuff while I'm here. I'm here at least for the foreseeable future, at least at least with the next 18 months. And if I need to be a stop on the Rainbow Underground Railroad, that's just what it's going to be. Because yeah, I want to help people. I might as well. I don't got anything else going on.
Well, I mean, that's something I'm doing. That's something I'm a part of too. Just trying to get some things together. Just trying to get things together so that just
So
trying to
that
get a few things together so to help people move because I know people that are I have friends in the South who are trying to get towards better situations.
yeah,
And
let's see.
but you see, as much as I want to help them, at the same time, my heart grieves for this country because no one should have to be an internal refugee in their country. No one should have to be an internal refugee in the United States of America. Why? That makes no sense.
Is they're having a state that's so bad that you have to be a refugee from it speaks for itself, right?
I mean,
I
well, to
mean,
me, that's a very strange. That's just bad business for all of us. I mean, nobody wants to be in a position. I mean, and the
and
real
it's not
sad
just
thing
trans
is,
people either. We left Missouri because of the fucking misogyny in the laws with the abortion rights and stuff. They basically say women are property. So we left Missouri and went to Illinois. So I was already a refugee in Illinois.
well, that's
From
another
Missouri.
thing in itself. This whole weird thing we're seeing. Your body, my choice.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
disgusting.
it's disgusting.
Hey.
But
He's literally the mascot of the right, though. They're like, oh yeah, not everybody agrees with Nick Fuentes. No, he's your mascot. He's your voice. He says what you all don't want to say out loud. That's what he's there for.
Hey, Bree.
Mm-hmm.
In light of this discussion, I've got a 16-minute piece that I did that sermonette, you might say, that I delivered on Transgender Day of Remembrance in 2022 at a Methodist church in South Portland.
I'm familiar. Yeah, you want to play
that? Now, we locked the church doors and there were police in the parking lot because the church had received threats. Because this affirming congregation was celebrating Transgender Day of Remembrance. The pastor's son is trans. I'd like to play that if that's okay.
Yeah, And then we'll wrap
Go
up
ahead
with
and
some
do it.
sports.
Go ahead and do it. By the time that's done, everything will be published and ready to fly for sports. So go ahead.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
You have the floor,
Okay.
Miss Helms.
All right. I'm gonna.
do it.
I'm just.
PC just dropped the link to it too.
I want to hear now. I want to hear a Stephanie sermon.
Oh,
Because
you.
you've
This
been
it
preaching
is.
tonight.
It's a good one.
I want to hear. Okay, I'm getting my popcorn out. Then I'm getting the popcorn ready because I want to hear what you had to say.
I hope this works.
When I was serving as a pastor on the other side of South Portland at the People's United Methodist Church. And I knew of Stephanie for some 10 years before that when we were in Camden racing J24s. Because, well, Stephanie pretty much is one of the top sailors in the country, and everyone who sails competitively in Maine knows Stephanie and usually knows the back of her boat very well. You know, because we're following. So, but Stephanie is not only one of the best sailors I know, but one of the most generous people too. I'll just give you one example. My husband and I had wanted to race J24s for the summer in the midweek races, and we couldn't find anyone who needed crew. And Stephanie was already skippering on another boat, so she said, well, why don't you use my J24 for the season? She didn't charge us anything, she just trusted us with her boat. And I think, because this is the kind of person that she is. So it's my pleasure to introduce to you Stephanie Helms to share her story.
Peace be with you.
And also with you.
Now I start that off with a traditional, I guess you'd call that religious greeting, Pax Vobiscum, all of that. I am myself a very lapsed Methodist. But I want to say, this is something that came to mind when Samantha was talking about her sister. My sister was my secret keeper. I'm a lady of a certain age. I was born in 1953, and in about 1957, I was doing a little tour. I had an accident. I had to do some physical therapy. I was quite young. And my mom said, I was 3.5. My mom said to me, good boy. And I said to her, no, girl. So I guess you might say I came out young. And my sister was my secret keeper. And in 2002, after surgery, I opened my eyes and there was my sister who had traveled from Portsmouth, New Hampshire to Indiana, Wisconsin to be by my side, and I opened my eyes and there she was, and she said, hi, sis. And that was a good day. So you should know we are family. We're a family of people. That's all we are.
Amen.
The news today from Colorado was heartbreaking. A 22-year-old young man, inspired by a spirit that I can only call violent, decided to pick up an AR-15, go to a place that was preparing to do what we're doing here today, remembering the people who have passed, remembering the people who have passed this year, we could also remember back to 1933, May of 1933, when another group of people decided to go into a library and pull out books from the shelves. The library was the Institute for the Study of Sexuality in Berlin. Those people were Nazis. They walked into that library, they burned the books. It was the first book burning of what became the Holocaust. The kind of hatred, the kind of vileness that we're seeing in this country today will go very bad unless people of goodwill stand up and say no. Now, I'll give my little talk.
I think you're a Methodist preacher, Stephanie.
Huh?
I think you're a Methodist preacher.
Well, I should say that my sister was also married to a Methodist preacher who in when was Selma? He was on the Pettus Bridge. I come from the tradition of the social gospel. My grandfather founded Goodwill Industries. My dad was a Methodist minister, so being a trans kid in a Methodist minister's family was rather interesting, I'll tell you. But, you know. Anyway, I can't see. Let's see if I can make this bigger for myself. I said, as a very last Methodist, I do want to talk about salt and light. I want to say the words of Jesus from Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 through 16. You are the salt of the earth. But if salt loses its saltiness, how will it become salty again? It's good for nothing except to be thrown away and trampled under people's feet. You're the light of the world. A city on top of a hill can't be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a basket. Instead, they put it on top of a lampstand, and it shines on all who are in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before people so they can see the good things you do and praise your Father who's in heaven. We're here today to reflect on and remember the lives of our trans siblings, parents, and children who have passed from us, whose memory is now a blessing, as were their lives. From November 21st, 2021 until today, I wrote this a couple of days ago. TransLivesMatters.info's TOR database, by the way, Gwen Smith is a friend of mine, lists the names of 57 people in the USA, and now we add 5 more names unknown at this moment. Perhaps they weren't all trans, but they were members of the LGBTQIA community. 5 more people. And 354 worldwide whose lives are cut short by violence and suicide, with people of color acutely impacted. Every one of those precious beings had a light that shone in wavelengths all their own, part of the broad spectrum that is the light of the world. Here are just 2 people whose brilliance lives on in memory. Alex Bastian of Quebec's story is rather dark. He was a trans child, just beginning to grow, confronted by bullying, dysphoria, depression at 10 years old, struggling with a precocious puberty that was wrong for him. And though his parents came to realize the struggles he faced and sought care, it came too late for Alex, who took his life March 9th of this year. It's a parent's worst nightmare, as mother said. No child should choose to take their own life because they question their sexual orientation or gender identity. Fern Feather of Heinsberg, Vermont was 29. She posted on her Facebook page this past March 24th. It's time to tell the world I'm a hot trans woman in a currently male hot bodysuit. Dang, sure took long enough, eh? Please share this to liberate our other beautiful ones. She was stabbed to death by a transphobic man and left to die by the side of the road, April 12th. Montpelier Bridge, on April 15th, posted these remembrances. There was magic, soul, and light in Fern Feather's life. And I'll bet she was salty too. Her friends saw in her something almost enchanted. One said it was really magical. Fern was a very magical being, soul, and a very open-hearted person. Fern was a magical being and a shapeshifter, and a little bit from the land of fairy, I think. Fern's travels took her to Oregon, where she worked on a farm, accumulating a house full of exotic tropical plants. Imagine that, tropical plants in Oregon. The other Portland is strange. Yet Fern always found her way back to Montpelier. She'd still travel a lot, but she had roots here and really deep friendships and relationships that always drew her back here. She had family. And her community welcomed her. Fern was just a real part of the fabric of this place for so many people. As a trans kid myself, growing up in the 50s and 60s, with a very strong gender sense, first felt and expressed at 3 1/2, I've known the sadness and confusion that Alex knew in his short life. I also faced the trauma of bullying. Back then, there wasn't much understanding in any realm of the trans experience, and far fewer resources than are here today for either my family or I to lean on for counsel and help. I learned I was the impossible girl. I was lucky I survived, even in that environment, and I wish Alex could have done. I felt too the joy Fern expressed in March, only weeks before her death, of wholeness and understanding in acknowledging a part of herself deeply hidden, but always there, in liberating her beautiful self, as I did nearly 25 years ago, in growing and understanding the impossible world was possible. I've been lucky and I've been privileged. Today we live in a time when loud voices cast more heat than light at trans lives. There are those who would have us disappear, deny us medical care, deny us public existence. In Texas, before the legislature, right now, is a bill drawn so broadly that it would forbid any trans person even being in public. I stand here today in a public place. The legislature of Texas would take me from your fellowship. So broadly, it would forbid any trans person even being in public, forcing us into closeted, fearful lives. Whether out of their own fears or out of malice, these measures have inspired bomb threats against hospitals. There was just one today, another one, against Boston Children's. And only exacerbate the violence that claimed the lives of Alex and Fern and so many more, and the people in Colorado Springs. Yeah, we are here. I am here. Last year, I was part of 3 championship teams in sailboat racing competition, winning the season championship in J24s, Etchels, and performance big boat sailing. That's my joy. That's my jam. That's what I do. I have joy in my life. I have joy in my life more abundant since I became me fully. When I was no longer hiding a part of myself. When I could let my light shine.
Amen.
When I could share the salt that hadn't lost its savor. Trans lives are a part of humanity's lamp. With sorrows, yes, like all lives, and also filled with joy. Our salt has not lost its taste. We season the bread and meat of our mutual existence. On even the most solemn of days where mourning and sorrow are present, I hope we can all remember the joy and work to increase and celebrate it, and fight to embrace the wonderful diversity of human experience, savor the salt, and let our light shine. All of us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, to me and mine, I just say we did what many of us have had to do before and since. We're going to pick ourselves up. We're going to put on some Sylvester. We're going to dance in the darkness and then show up in the light.
Trans Awareness Week and Trans Day of Remembrance have come and gone, but the next fight for liberation and human rights continues. This is Transposition Sports. I'm Carly Chardonnay Webb. The forfeit crisis in the Mountain West continues with 2 more plot twists. First, another lawsuit, this time by a group of 10 volleyball student athletes, including San Jose State team captain Brooke Slusser and SJSU assistant coach Melissa Batiste-Smoose, and funded by the Anti-Trans Independent Council on Women's Sports that filed suit last Wednesday in U.S. District Court in Colorado. The lawsuit contends that the Mountain West Conference, MWC Commissioner Gloria Nevarez, the California State University Board of Trustees, and 3 SJSU officials, including head volleyball coach Todd Christ, violated federal Title IX statutes and the free speech rights of the plaintiff. Now here's the twist. 2 more games left for San Jose State. They got a split, winning at Colorado State over the weekend, losing at Fresno State Tuesday. Now here's the interesting thing about all this, taking a look at the standings. With the loss to Fresno State, San Jose State is now 12-6. Here are some of the projections based on some of the games. One of the biggest games this weekend, Fresno State against Boise State. If Fresno State wins that game over Boise State, and also looking at the other Carly Webb projections, Colorado State would be the top seed at 13-5. Fresno State would have the 2 seed. San Jose State, by tiebreaker over Utah State, would have the 3 seed. San Diego State would be the 5. Boise State would be the 6, which means Boise State, who's one of the forfeit 4, as I like to call them, would have to meet San Jose State in the first round of the tournament. Now, based on the data that we got from the Mountain West Conference, if Boise State beats Fresno State on Saturday, Colorado State would be the 1 seed, San Jose State would be the 2, Fresno State would be the 3, Utah State would have the 4th seed, San Diego State would have the 5, Boise State would have the 6, but now San Jose State has to bye into the semifinals, which means that one of the forfeit 4 would possibly have to meet San Jose State in the next round. No matter what happens, a decision will have to be made. Would they boycott again? The Carly Webb viewpoint, the Mountain West Conference should tell Utah State and Boise State the following. Tell them, Phoebe.
So the only way around it is to sanction them and to say to these teams, you play by our rules and you play every other team, or you get out. And that's it.
I couldn't have said it better myself. The Mountain West should tell Utah State and Boise State, we're not going to reward you for giving anti-trans bigots a platform. You're ineligible to be in our postseason tournament. The NCAA failed to uphold their inclusion policy. The Mountain West failed to do the same. San Jose State failed to stand up for their own policies of inclusion and their own mission statements. The head coach at SJSU failed to dump a player you should have dumped for joining the lawsuit in the first place. And Brooke Sluicer cares nothing about women's volleyball. Women's sports of the program she'll leave. Now, she's going to end up probably at the Raleigh Gaines Foundation after graduation. She'll have a job space in the right-wing mirror universe. Meanwhile, the rubble and the ripples will be felt, and it's already being felt at the high school level in California. This past weekend, a school forfeited a state volleyball playoff match because the school they were playing against in the semifinal Saturday had a transgender girl on their roster. Merced-based Stone Ridge Christian High School. They were scheduled to meet San Francisco Waldorf in the semifinal match. They informed the CIF that they weren't going to forfeit. And they said so in a letter to parents on November 16th. Stone Ridge officials termed the decision that they're standing on, quote, biblical truth, which is more than an outcome of a game. We don't believe that sex is changeable, and we do not intend to participate in events that send a different message. We also have a duty and responsibility to care for the health and safety of our athletes. Now, CIF officials also put out a statement last Saturday reaffirming their stance in regards to California state law and their own bylaws toward gender identity participation, that all students have the opportunity to participate. That's been the CIF's policy since 2013. Now, in response to the forfeit, the CIF statement also noted that any withdrawal from a CIF playoff would be subject to further sanctions. No decisions on sanctions for Stone Ridge have been made at this time. Now, personally, I'd like to see the California Interscholastic Federation do what Vermont's governing body did. When the Mid-Vermont Christian School decided to forfeit a state championship playoff game because the opposing team had a transgender girl on their team, the response of the Virginia Principals Association was, since you want to discriminate, we discriminate against bigots. They were banned from all activities for 2023 and the 2024 school year. California, you have the opportunity to do right, and I say you should do it. When we come back to Transposition Sports, sports history, and how it affects a bizarre bathroom battle on Capitol Hill. But first, a couple of messages, starting with one from the angry gay grandpa. Get your Kleenex ready.
So maybe I'll start a little bit softer. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine.
Dad?
Before you say anything, I just want to apologize for what I said this morning. I've been doing a lot of thinking. If you want to change your name, if you want to wear a dress.
It's a skirt, Dad.
Skirt? I don't know the kind of support you need, but let's get you some for all this transgender stuff.
Wait. Are you serious? Dad, what is this?
Oh, this is me supporting you. This is me saying I love you. This is me not losing you.
Love you, Dad.
Love you. Holly.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
My definition of community, here we go. Practicing and living in community means that we are responsible to ourselves and others. It means that we're committed to engaging humbly and bravely with others who we may not agree with, but who share a similar worldview. And tensions and conflict are gifts that allow us to grow together. I want everyone to take a second and think about this queer community. And think about folks who fought to get us in the military. Think about folks who fought for marriage. Think about folks who fought against the military-industrial complex. Think about every last human being for decades who fought GRID, the gay cancer, AIDS, HIV, etc. And now we are here. And now we are here. And I see faces, I see eyes, I see people I've seen forever and ever and ever. I see people who I've seen grow up. I've seen people who I've seen get old, even older than me. Thank you. Love you. And I see a whole bunch of new faces, right? And I see a whole bunch of people who don't get exactly what this is, because this is scary and something happens. And when we use all of those letters, and when we share that rainbow, it's really easy to think that we're all separate in some way. Welcome to Kimura's world. In my world, I say we meet at our differences. There once was an organization called the Queer Liberation Front. I am here today quite literally because the Queer Liberation Front got on Kimura and said, Kimura, show up, right? And that Queer Liberation Front understood that we were not stronger because we were the same. We were not stronger because of our commonalities. We were stronger because of our solidarity towards each other. We were stronger because the anti-war queers showed up at the same places where those weird environmentalists showed up, where all of those let's make sure that we can get married people showed up, when all of those other folks showed up, and we understood that it was our solidarity. That we did not waste time trying to figure out how to pretend that we're all the same. Please look at me. If you know me, I dress for you. I am in your house. This is not my authentic way of being, but I need you to hear me. So I showed up in your house looking like y'all. When you come to my house, come show out. When you come to my house, say the uncomfortable things. When you come to my house, we fight fascism. And we are not nice about it.
Welcome back to Transposition Sports. Now, as we commemorated Trans Day of Remembrance on Wednesday, more disturbing news came from Washington, D.C. Over the weekend, congressional Republicans led by South Carolina MAGA Republican Nancy Mace announced that they're going to seek to bring a bathroom bill to Capitol Hill and say that you can only use the bathroom of your biological sex, whatever the hell that means to them, on Capitol Hill or in federal buildings. Now, the target of this was one person, Delaware Representative-elect Sarah McBride, the first transgender American to be elected to Congress. Now, in response to this, McBride said on Wednesday that even though she didn't agree with it, she is going to abide by the rules set by the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, Confederate Republican representative from Louisiana.
For anybody who doesn't know my well-established record on this issue, let me be unequivocally clear. A man is a man, and a woman is a woman, and a man cannot become a woman.
Needless to say, that didn't go well with a lot of transgender people. One, noted advocate Raquel Willis, who said, quote, Nancy Mace would have told me I can't use the same restroom as her in the 1950s, not because I'm trans, but because I'm black. Now, Willis's analysis mirrors my own in many ways. And now there are those on the other side who are saying we're jumping on Sarah McBride. And it's wrong to jump on her. And there's good reason to consider both sides of the equation, but I want to give a little food for thought from sports history. Everyone, think Brooklyn Dodgers 1947 for a second. Sarah McBride is Jackie Robinson in this case, in some ways. And you know, the Pioneers always get hit. First one through the door always gets the hardest part of it. And if you know the story, and even if you don't know sports, you may know a little of the story. There's the famous thing that Branch Rickey said to Jackie, and he said, I need a person with the guts not to fight back. Now, some of you may look at that, and if you do, let's be careful not to use the example the wrong way. You see, Branch Rickey didn't say be passive. No, he didn't say not to fight back. What he said was we fight back the right way. You fight back by making plays. You fight back by excellence. Sarah, let's talk as sisters for a second. You had a chance to make a play, and you didn't make it. And I know the box you're in. I get it. I know the box you're in regards to being the first. I know the box you're in regards to the politics of D.C. I understand the box you're in because you're a part of a team, the Democratic congressional team. I get it. I understand it. And I also understand that you want to represent the state of Delaware. You said it in your statement. I'm here to represent the people of Delaware. I want you to do that. But here's where your problem is, sis. You see, the Republicans decided to attack the very thing you want to do. And they're attacking it by saying, you can't handle basic health and hygiene unless you do it our way and demean yourself. It's a tactic, and they know what they were doing and why they did it. And at that moment, I don't think you thought about that when you made the statement that you're going to go along. And by making that statement, it wasn't just about you. It's about every trans person who's a staffer on Capitol Hill. It's about every trans person who works in a government office in D.C. It's about every trans person who works with an organization that goes to Capitol Hill to lobby, or the colleagues of mine in journalism who cover the Hill day in, day out to bring the news to the American people. It was about them too. And at another level, it was about me and those like me. You've made it easier for them to demean me and mine and us. And it's not bad-mouthing to tell you that. Sister to sister, trans person to trans person. You botched this one, Sarah. You did. You did. But another thing irks me too. Where was your teammates? That's right. Where are the congressional Democrats? I haven't heard too many of them, and I need to be hearing all of them. And yes, Representative Hayes of Connecticut, I live in your district. I'm talking to you too. Oh, by the way, sent you a Twitter and an email on that, and I will be sending more. And I encourage more people to do the same. If a Democrat represents you in Congress, you need to be sending them an email. Not anything overly threatening or aggressive, just say the facts. And the facts are, don't let the Jim Crow Republicans do this. Don't let the Jim Crow Republicans demean one of your own, and by extension, demean every transgender American. And that's another thing. When we talk about transgender people in regards to the laws, let's make sure we always tell people, whether it's an interview, whether it's amongst ourselves, transgender Americans. Because contrary to the belief of the Confederate Republicans like Nancy Mace, transgender Americans are Americans.
Hey everyone, I told you I wasn't going to stop with Capitol Hill. I'm filing another bill tonight that would ban biological men from women's spaces on all federal property all across the country. This fight starts here. It starts now. Men are not allowed in women's spaces, period. Full stop, end of story.
But this shouldn't surprise anyone. After all, it's Nancy Mace. She's from South Carolina, the state that gave us the Civil War and Senator Strom Thurmond. It's no surprise that she is just the perfect Confederate Republican to want to bring back desegregating bathrooms in 2024. Representative Mace, understand that I see you. And should it ever happen that I have to come to Washington, D.C. and testify before Congress, I will say this to you right now. You will not demean me in my own nation's capital. Not now, not ever. And I'm not alone in that assessment. How ironic that you're from South Carolina, where probably the most loved person in South Carolina is someone you'd probably want to discriminate against. A proud black woman who is a legendary basketball player who's now building a legend as a coach and happens to coach the best women's college basketball team in the land at the University of guess where? South Carolina. With all this in mind, what do we need to do? You know, it would be easy to just have a dog pile on Sarah McBride, and not that she hasn't earned it, but we need to also back her up, even as we're giving loving chastisement. Because, like it or not, she's entering in the warhead. She's going to get mistreated and demeaned. But it's more than her. It's all of us. And in many ways, we have to push beyond her. Now, what does that mean? For starters, it means we may have to supply the spine that the congressional Democrats haven't shown as of yet, which means we have to continue to push them and prod them and push beyond them. We're going to have to engage in creative, nonviolent, non-cooperation and keep doing it and keep doing it. We're going to have to squad up in mutual love and mutual aid. We're going to have to take care of each other even more than we ever have. In other words, going back to our analogy, we're going to have to be the Eddie Stankies and the Pee Wee Reeses and the Ralph Brancas in this moment. We're going to have to be the ones to get in the faces of the Confederate Jim Crow Republicans whenever the slurs come. We're going to have to be the ones, those of us at the grassroots, that are going to have to fight the fights and lead the way and have the powers that be, the politicians, follow us. We're going to have to set the tone. We're going to have to set the tone in many ways that Representative-elect McBride failed to set. And that's my biggest criticism of her, is that this battle wasn't small. This was important because it set a tone. And it's a tone that's historical in scope. And for whatever reason, she didn't pick up history's lessons there. So we're going to have to pick it up and carry the ball forward. I know it's a rough time, and there are rough times ahead. But for all of us, we're going to have to hold hands, stick together, and understand that the big game is here and it's a long game. And understand that no one can sit in the bleachers on this. Whether you're a trans person, or whether you have trans person in your life as an ally that you love, be it family, be it friends, be it whoever, understand there can be no one in the bleachers. There are no bench warmers. We're all on the field. So grab your ball, grab your bat, grab your glove, put on your cleats. Game's on, fights on, play ball.
We, all of us, you, me, all of us, we are incubators for the better way forward. Each of us has something to offer, something special, and not only do we have a duty to stay alive, we have a duty to be victorious. The fight's on, and repeat after me, we have a duty to win. We have a duty to win. We have a duty to win. We have a duty to win.
For Transposition Sports, I'm Carly Chardonnay Webb.
Wow. That was incredible, Carly.
Thank you, Carly, for another wonderful installment and a powerful speech as well. Who was the lady that was speaking before you?
Oh, that's a good friend of mine, Kamora Harrington. She is a longtime activist here in Connecticut, and she's a total badass. And she's a wonderful. I mean, she's been a leader of so much solid work in Connecticut over the years, and she spoke. There was a rally in West Hartford, Connecticut, over the weekend that drew about 1,500 people, including some of the members of the congressional delegation. And I had an opportunity to speak with them and let them know that we need them right now. We need them in the fight, and it's good. It was good to see that level of support and commitment, and people that are energized and gearing up. Now the next cue is to keep them active for the fights ahead in our state and in our country, and that's going to be the next way forward. And it was a good opportunity for coalitions to reforge and come together in common cause to make sure that people are protected. Because I mean, one thing about where we live and where Stephanie lives up in New England is that these states are pretty solid, but we have to stay vigilant. We have to stay ready to fight, and that's going to be the thing. I mean, even in New England, we've got to fight, because the reactionaries are there in every state up here and in every state across what is really truly a blue wall in our country. Up here, we still have to fight because the reactionaries are there, the Nazis are there, the Proud Boys, the John Birchers of the modern day are with us, and we have to fight them.
Speaking of with us, Jenny, are you with us?
I don't know. Am I?
Yes, you are.
Oh, okay.
You are with us.
This
You're the
software
replacement
sucks, by the
Swinburne
way.
tonight.
The software completely sucks. It won't even let me give me an avatar.
I know it's kind of it's a little bit annoying in that regard. Yeah.
Well, so far it's a
I don't
lot.
get to pick mine either. I got this thing. If I turn mine off, I don't get an avatar. But that's because I'm on the crew or on the team. So the team that gets that avatar.
Team gets, but the team leader gets to do the avatar thing. It's a quirk. I think they'll sort it out. But
Well, I would think it should be able to work perfectly seamlessly with their own software. Because
you would think that
StreamYard's Guest, and StreamYard's Guest is bulletproof. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Why this doesn't work? I don't know. But go on.
I don't know either. No, all right. So everybody, I would like to introduce you all listening to Jenny Morgan, who is can I say that we're contemporaries, Jenny?
Well, yeah, you're like 6 months older than me, I guess.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I think that's pretty contemporary.
Yeah. But Jenny, you're in trans years, you're considerably older than I am.
I'm ancient. I'm ancient fossilized dino poop. Absolutely.
I know.
Thank you guys for making me feel young.
And well, I feel like I'm fossilized dino poop, but I'm like only 27 now.
Ooh, we just got a raid from Mark Reed. Yay!
Oh, really?
For
hey, raid. Anyway, but it's nice with.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
For those who don't know, I am younger than Stephanie by a few months, but I am much older than her. in terms of transitions. I transitioned in the 70s.
Oh.
So I've been around a while. I've started my research about who and what I am actually before 1970, but really got into it starting in 1970 is all I will claim.
She's the Model T.
I'm still thinking horse and buggy.
No, she's the Model J.
I will.
She's the Model J.
She's
She's a J car right there. She's just like, yeah. Anywho, anyway, we were going to do a show on well, just after the election, but I think the election was a thermonuclear device that blew us all out of the water. I certainly was. I was just. I was just completely spent from working and everything, and if we had been stronger, we would have pulled it together. But I didn't have it in me. Bree didn't. We were all just sort of crushed.
Well, yeah.
Well, I haven't covered yet.
Completely packed up at the time too, so I didn't have.
Yeah, and Bree was on the road. I was also in another form of transition, and it was just, oh my God, chaos. Chaos is reigning.
Ginny was going to have my seat, but then, yeah.
But then I
decided to take a week off, which was probably a good idea. Other than our viewer count's back down again to where it was before we got our big bump from the line, but hopefully we'll get back up there again. We were,
yeah, we will.
But it's a dark time for us here in the U.S.
But Bree, who do we have? Do we have people scheduled for? We've all. Been,
I don't have a date for them yet, but we do have Leah Passanetti on. She's a trans content creator. Just had a big spike in her viewership. Covering a lot of stuff that Ember's covered for us. So really inspiring content creator that I'm wanting to give one a kind of boost and get her voice out there. And then
absolutely.
I was in talk with Stacey K about coming on. We just don't have a date for that, which will probably be much later than when I have Leah on.
What do we got? What do we got coming up for next week?
For next week. I'm looking. Hold on. I'll do my Actually, we are open next week, so it's just the four of us.
See, there you go. Just the four of us next week, except for Jenny Morgan, who might possibly be available next week. I don't know.
Yeah, Jenny, you can join us next week.
I did not realize that you were expecting me this week. I thought because we missed last week, I'd have to be scheduled in a different slot. I didn't assume today.
Oh, it's okay. No, yeah. Sometimes we have a guest and sometimes we don't. I like to have a guest, but it's not a requirement.
We'd love to have you if you could.
Okay, I'll come and
maybe we can talk old timey shit and stuff.
I will promise to be here, and I promise not to talk dirty. God damn it!
All right.
I'm disappointed. In that case, forget it. If you're not gonna talk dirty, what the fuck?
All right, ladies, we are over our 2-hour mark. I got some stuff I gotta take care of this evening. Anything else that we needed to cover? Anything else?
Yeah, I would like to offer a solution, not a solution, but an approach with this Nancy Mace bitch.
Go.
She's so insistent on this, and she is. I think we should get a group of, say, 20 trans men who are nice, big, and burly, and 20 trans women who are like movie star level, and invade the men's room with the trans women and invade the women's room with the trans men and let them know how it's going to be from there on. And we can stand behind those urinals and watch them really close. You know, we have to stand next to them too with our little funnel.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and calipers. We need calipers too.
And Nancy should experience what's like to have a bunch of big burly men talking loud and knocking on the stall door and raising the kind of ruckus that
I
they
have
will.
all this going on in there.
I'm dead serious about this. I think it's an action that I think we should keep up for a couple of weeks if we can. In the Capitol building, I imagine the Congress people have their own special bathroom, but we should not care about that. And go in and go on the offensive. God damn it! I'm tired of being a passive nothing in this. I want to kick some fucking ass.
Are you saying we should march on Washington?
I think you and Carly are on the same page, and I'm on the same page too. Is we can't let these people get gone. And I'm also like I there's no need for a dogpile party on Sarah McBride, but a corrective needs to be applied, not just to Sarah, but to all of these guys. It's like, hey, you've got to stop backing down every single time. You just got to stop it. You got to stand sometime. You've got to fucking stop.
In other words, you got to be like Tom Petty. You won't back down.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Aw, Tom
So
Petty.
what? So we're going to do a Thanksgiving show.
That's next
week.
week.
That's right. That is next week. I'm going
to have a breast.
This would be the Transpositions Talk Turkey. I would say.
Yeah, Transpositions Turkey Talk. Yeah, we're gonna just start all the politics and everything, and we're gonna argue about the best way to cook a turkey.
Yeah.
Gobble gobble gobble.
Deep fried. Everybody down for that? I'm fine. I'm not doing anything in Thanksgiving evening.
I should have run out of turkey loaf by then, so I'd be willing to come in if you like.
Okay. How about your scalloped potatoes and your lime salad? Well, look, you're in the upper middle. You're in fucking Minnesota.
Right now,
you got the lime salad with the cottage cheese and shit. It's like, how's that going?
It's gonna be casseroles from wall to wall.
All right.
Well, I'll tell you what. If it's gonna be a Thanksgiving show, then I'll say it right now. You're gonna see more Kirby the cat.
I like it.
There's gonna be more Kirby the cat. There's gonna be a lot of.
I love Kirby.
We got to get more Kirby. Got to get more Kirby. Can't get enough of Kirby the cat. Even though
I got 2 new cat roommates. So I'm excited. Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Cats.
BB has a big fluffy gray cat named Barney who's so scared of everything. He doesn't come out of the closet except for at night, out of their closet. But hopefully he'll warm up to me. And then Ben has this sweetheart named Sushi who just talks my ear off every time I'm in the room with her. He tells me about everything. I unwrapped her cat tree yesterday. And then I was making lunch and she found out about it and came and yelled at me and had me follow her in there so she could show it to me. It's like, I unwrapped it for you, Sushi. And she's like, yeah, but look, I can get up on top of it. I missed having little furry friends around. I love them.
So here we are babbling on, but I think maybe it's how long have we been going on for? 2 hours, 11 minutes, 12 seconds.
Yeah.
I think maybe I click the end the stream button. Come back
next week.
Today, a week
from Thanksgiving with
Thanksgiving. Look, get rid of all of your lethargy and get motivated because we got a lot to do.
I will not promise, but I got to be careful here. I may do a reveal.
That would be fine. And it would be awesome, actually, because you know what, Jenny? You're awesome.
Well, it means I have to take a shower and stuff, you know.
I know. Big sacrifices, big,
I'm too far away to braid your hair, Jenny.
Hey, you wanna make that big time. You gotta do the thing. But anyway, I'm gonna click the button right now. And thank you all, everybody. There's so many fine people supporting the show and being in the stream. And thank you all for being here. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
All right.
Bye. Hit the